Welcome back to the Truth Factory. I feel like it's finally time for you guys to know the real truth about Donald Trump. I do a lot of serious, well-sourced videos, and this is not going to be one of them, but it will be super entertaining, as this is one of my all-time favorite conspiracy theories. It combines my three favorite things: Donald Trump, time travel, and meme magic. Yeah, it's gonna be stupid, but I promise it'll also be funny and there's some actual elements of truth to it. If you don't know what meme magic is, it has to do with a website called 4chan.org where they started saying kek, K-E-K, which is Korean for LOL, and then someone discovered that Kek was also an ancient Egyptian god of chaos that is represented as a frog-human anamorph thing. Anyway, people adopted this frog character here that is known as Pepe, and they started putting it into memes with Donald Trump. Some believe that this awakened Kek, and through meme magic got Donald Trump elected as president. This time was known as the Great Meme War. But meme magic transcends timelines, and we are now in the Donald Trump meme magic timeline. And this is the tale of how Donald J. Trump and Barron Trump became time travelers. No, it gets better, I promise. Just keep watching. It all started with this guy, Nikola Tesla. Maybe you've heard of him. Born in Croatia in 1856, this quirky genius was in love with a pigeon. True story. But he also pioneered electricity and several other innovative concepts and inventions like potentially a doom ray and even time travel. On March 13, 1985, a New York Herald journalist came across Tesla in a cafe looking like he had just been fried by 3.5 million volts. This is because Tesla was using himself in his own time travel experiments. Tesla said that on contact with a resonating electromagnetic charge, he found himself outside of his time frame reference. He reported that he could see in the immediate past, present, and future all at once, but he was paralyzed within the electromagnetic field. Unable to help himself, his assistant turned off the current, which released Tesla before any permanent damage was done. Now at this time, with the current technology, time travel was far too unstable and dangerous. When Tesla passed away in 1943, the FBI ordered a property custodian to seize the belongings of this Croatian alien, even though at this point Tesla was an American citizen. The National Defense Research Committee called an MIT professor to make sense of Tesla's notes in order to analyze if anything could be weaponized. This MIT professor was John Trump. This is Donald Trump's uncle. John Trump claimed that there was nothing of any real substance in Tesla's notes, but of course, this was a lie. He knew that if the National Defense Research Committee realized what was in these notes, it could mean the end of the world, as it included blueprints for a theoretical time machine. Although John Trump thought Tesla's time machine was plausible, it was still not possible to create one using the technology that existed in 1943. John Trump later died in 1985, but not before leaving Tesla's notes and their implications to the protection of his beloved millionaire nephew, Donald John Trump. There are some theories that say that Donald Trump was the alleged time traveler John Teeter that circulated on message boards from 2000 to 2001, but I'm not totally sold on this, as this entire thing is already crazy. But if Donald Trump did have the actual notes from Nikola Tesla on time travel and had the money to back up the research, perhaps it is plausible that Donald Trump has time traveled. My theory is that Donald Trump goes to the future. He sees the dystopian nuclear holocaust and a war between Hillary Clinton and the Russians, and maybe some religious extremists as well. He goes back and he decides the only way to change this is by becoming president instead of Hillary Clinton. This is why it always seemed like Trump had a bizarre ability to accurately predict and manipulate his political opponents to his advantage, because they were not predictions, they were foreordained events. Trump is not just playing 4D chess here, he's playing fourth dimensional chess, because he is a time traveler. And I will get back to him in a bit, but first Barron Trump, because Barron Trump is also a time traveler. And this is all documented by an author named Igersoll LockWood from New York in a book called The Travels and Adventures of Little Barron Trump and His Wonderful Dog Bulger, which was written in 1890, and Barron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, written in 1893. So this is where you can note that both Igersoll LockWood and Tesla were both living in New York when the first book was written 5 years after it was documented that Tesla first started to experiment with time travel. This is where Barron Trump goes back in time and gives Tesla his blueprints to the time machine before he even draws it. This completes the time loop that ensures time travel for the Trumps in the future. This is also where Barron Trump meets the author LockWood, who writes this book. But let's take a look at the book. Barron Trump's marvelous underground journey opens up with a picture of him and is said to be the only authentic portrait of Barron Trump. Looks a bit uncanny. And that dog beside him is his trusty sidekick, Bulger. The book opens talking about a portrait of a man of low stature with a head much too large for his body, and in his left hand a grotesque image in ivory, most elaborately carved. It says that his quizzical look always attracts attention, so you can see that Barron Trump does not have autism, he's just a time traveler. And if that's not weird, Igersoll LockWood also wrote a book called The Strange Adventures of the $1 Million, where a rich tycoon leaves their only child $1 million, and another book called The Last President, where in it there is a part that sounds like a prediction where Trump goes on to win the next election and a mob of Antifa thugs tries to burn down Trump Tower in New York. The mobs push the police northward. Their dark masses of infuriated beings surged up again with renewed fury. They shouted, "Down with the rich man! Death to the gold bugs! Death to the capitalists! Give us back the money that you ground out of us!" The police force was now almost helpless. The Fifth Avenue Hotel will be the first to feel the fury of the mob, and this ends with the police firing guns into a horde of angry protesters. So that is the basis of the time travel theory, but there's more, and it gets really stupid, but it's also really funny, so I'm gonna do this. Because Trump only wanted to be president for as long as he needed to stop the dystopian Hillary Clinton future. He always said that he didn't want to be president if there was somebody else who he thought could do just as good of a job. This is where Mike Pence comes in. Pence is also a time traveler who met Trump many years far into the future. Pence is a superior time machine, and to put it simply, Pence can be in the same timeline more than once. This means that there can be more than one Mike Pence on Earth at any given period. So if you ever thought that Pence looks a bit strange or out of place, it's because he's from the far future where races have become homogenized and everyone looks like Mike Pence. Mike Pence, or rather copies of him, were sent back to the past by Pence Prime and Trump in order to infiltrate the lives of political enemies before they ever become political enemies. Indeed, there are many such enemies, none of whom you've ever heard of or met their demise or fell into obscurity long before they could ever become a threat to Trump. But not Tim Kaine, who is actually gay. He is not involved in this plot and is essentially neutralized as a political threat long ago by one of the Pences who is still in service. Luckily for Trump, his temporal enemies don't realize this. And why is it important that Tim Kaine is gay? Because his wife is another Pence from the future. Look at them. Now the question remains, did Trump go back in time to awaken the ancient Egyptian god Kek? Or did Trump create Kek by drawing the first meme on ancient ruins, knowing that meme magic is what holds all the timelines together and what will ultimately win him the presidency in 2016 after we win the meme wars and stop the dystopian nuclear Hillary Clinton timeline? Yeah, this video is stupid, but I've already wasted hours making it, so here you go. Thanks guys, if you enjoyed this, I have a link to my Twitter and Patreon in the description. Have a great night. Meow.